The 2026 FIFA World Cup is expected to generate nearly $40 billion for the US economy. And here's the most surprising part. Most of that money won't come from ticket sales or from FIFA itself. In fact, America starts making billions before the opening whistle is even blown. So how does it do that? How does a football tournament become a massive money-making machine? And why are countries willing to compete so fiercely for the chance to host the World Cup? By the end of this video, you'll stop seeing the World Cup as just a sporting event and start seeing it as one of the biggest business investments in the world. Most people think of the World Cup as nothing more than a sporting event, packed stadiums, unforgettable goals, a team lifting the trophy. But governments don't host the tournament simply because they love football, because the World Cup is also a massive economic investment, and every investment has one goal: to make money. That's exactly America's plan, and the United States has one major advantage over most previous host countries. Once you understand it, you'll understand why hosting the World Cup is so valuable for them. Watching a World Cup match isn't as simple as buying a ticket. People fly thousands of miles. They stay in hotels, eat at restaurants, rent cars, use public transportation, visit museums, go shopping. In other words, people aren't just coming to watch football. They're bringing money into the local economy. Let's say the average visitor spends around $3,000 during their trip. Now, multiply that by hundreds of thousands, or even millions of visitors. Suddenly, you're no longer talking about millions of dollars. You're talking about billions. But tourism isn't America's only source of income, because there's another revenue stream that's even bigger. During the World Cup, billions of people are watching. Millions are constantly sharing highlights and photos on social media. Whether we realize it or not, the host cities are being advertised to the entire world for free, and that kind of exposure is worth far more than most people realize. Think about it. Someone watches a match and sees the beaches of Miami, the skyline of New York City, the atmosphere of Los Angeles. Maybe nothing happens right away, but months later, when they're planning a vacation, those cities are suddenly at the top of their list. That's one of the biggest advantages of hosting the World Cup. The tournament keeps attracting visitors long after it's over. So America isn't just making money from today's tourists, it's also making money from tomorrow's. But even that isn't the biggest advantage. The real difference lies somewhere else. Many previous World Cup hosts had to spend billions preparing for the tournament. They built new stadiums, expanded airports, constructed new roads. But once the tournament ended, some of those stadiums were barely used again. A huge portion of that investment never paid for itself. And that's exactly where America is different. The United States already has massive NFL stadiums. Most of them are already in regular use every year. That means there's no need to build dozens of brand new venues. They simply need to upgrade the ones they already have. And that eliminates one of the biggest costs of hosting the World Cup: lower expenses, higher profit potential. But hosting the World Cup isn't just about saving money, because there's another huge flow of money that arrives with the tournament. When the World Cup begins, it's not just the players who show up. The world's biggest companies do too. Sponsors, advertising agencies, media companies, investors, VIP guests, and every one of them spends money. Major brands host exclusive events throughout the tournament. They book luxury hotels, entertain clients, launch marketing campaigns, hold business meetings. In other words, the World Cup isn't just football, it's also one giant business convention, and its economic impact can reach billions of dollars. But that's still not the end of the story, because even before the tournament begins, it creates thousands of new jobs, hotels hire more staff, restaurants expand their workforce, security companies recruit additional employees, cleaning services grow, event organizers hire thousands of temporary workers. Those jobs may not last forever, but millions of dollars in wages flow back into the economy through spending, and governments collect tax revenue along the way. But this raises an important question. If hosting the World Cup is so profitable, why doesn't every host country become richer? Because hosting the World Cup doesn't always make money. Sometimes it does the exact opposite. New stadiums sit empty. Maintenance costs continue for years. Infrastructure projects fail to generate the expected returns. That's why economists still debate whether hosting the World Cup is actually worth it. So why does America appear to have the advantage? Because most of the infrastructure it needs already exists. Unlike many previous hosts, it doesn't have to spend billions building everything from scratch, and that significantly increases its chances of turning a profit. So, America isn't making money from the World Cup simply by selling tickets. The real money comes from international tourism, hotels, restaurants, corporate spending, tax revenue, global exposure, and tourism that continues long after the tournament is over. The match on the field lasts only 90 minutes, but its economic impact can last for years. That's why the World Cup isn't just the biggest sporting event on Earth. It's also one of the biggest business events in the world. And the next time you watch the World Cup, you may not be wondering who will lift the trophy. You may be wondering who really profits the most from the tournament.